Hello, V Squad, and welcome back to another episode of VGIRL TV. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to my canal de YouTube, and I have a special guest for you. We should switch.
You're damn right. All right.
We should switch that.
Right.
Okay, so I have a special guest for you guys. This was supposed to be done months ago, but this man is very busy. This is Amir's father. Okay, this is the person who impregnated me. Okay, and we have a child together, and a lot of you have been in the comment section asking me how he felt about me living in Panama with his child. How does it affect our relationship, our co-parenting relationship? So what better way than to answer these questions?
Nervous she is? When she get next to me, she gets so nervous. What's happening? You see that?
Anyway, what better way to answer you guys' questions than having the man here himself?
That's right.
Okay, so let me just give you some background information about him, because I know it seems like I am a single parent and Amir's father is non-existent, but that is not the case. This is Omar. Okay, Omar is an actor. You probably seen him on what's that show, Empire, the one with 50 Cent.
It was Power, Make 'Em a Breakup, Broadcasting Christmas with Dean Cain. A few things. Make 'Em a Breakup was probably the most independent one, but it went to BET, so it was a good run. We had 3 seasons with that, and I've done a lot of commercials. Kevin Durant sneaker commercial for Foot Locker, Domino's Pizza, PC Richards, just a bunch. I can't even remember. Dunkin' Donuts, that one was a big one. Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time, so the resume is kind of crazy, but I'm grateful.
Good. So if you ever seen him, or you'd be like, oh my God, he looks familiar, that's why, because you probably see him across your TV screen. I know it's super weird.
The Night Of, I love that. You know, that was a big one. HBO, I have to say that one. But yeah, okay.
I know, guys, it's super weird and super random. You guys probably would have never thought that. Especially because I don't post him on my social media. I never post him, so.
Can't get the man them jealous, you get me? We don't want them feeling no kind of way when they see the boys show up. We don't want none of that.
He is so full of himself. Like, I can't.
Not.
Okay. All right, so let's jump into this video. Let's dive right in. Okay, so obviously we have a child together.
Yep.
And when I came to you and presented you the idea of moving to Panama, Amir was like, what, like 4?
Yeah.
Amir was about 4 years old, but see, I came prepared. I had pamphlets.
Yeah.
I had pamphlets, and I basically came to him and was like, hey, listen, I was going through a situation at work and I just needed a change of environment, and I had a better situation in Panama, a better lineup situation in Panama, and I knew that me coming, because guys, he is involved in his son's life. He's not a deadbeat dad or anything like that. So I knew that me coming to him and telling him that I wanted to take his son away from him, it would have been an issue. So this was around the time with the whole Trayvon Martin thing, and we used to always talk about, well, you used to always talk about the black man,
right,
and how America is not a place for black people, to say the least, more or less along those lines. And then the Trayvon Martin thing had happened. So when I came to him, I came with school pamphlets showing him tuition, the education system of that particular school, or those schools that I was going to. So I didn't come to you like, hey, I'm moving, and didn't like really have a plan. Like, I literally had to come to him and give him a plan. So what were your thoughts like about that, like the first time that I came up with that idea?
You know, I took it pretty hard, because I was so used to being around him for a certain amount of time. So it was tough, and I think I don't know if you remember, we were in your living room when you brought it to me.
Yeah, it was.
And I told you, give me like some time.
Yeah.
And if I could work certain things out, then you could leave him. You know what I mean? He stays with me. And I think we agreed on that. but obviously I didn't get certain things together in that amount of time. So I had to do what was best for his situation, you know what I mean? I knew I was an actor, and at that time things were rough being an actor. So I had to make an executive decision for myself, you know what I mean? It had to be logical. My feeling said to keep him, but the logic said to let him go ahead because I understood what type of environment he was going to be in. So I let him go, you know what I mean? It was tough. When he brought it to me, it was something I didn't want to hear, but you know, I'm really logical. I don't allow my emotions to dictate my behaviors a lot of the time, you know? So I had to do what was best for him. I'll let you take it.
Okay, so even when he was presenting the idea of me leaving with him, I was like, I was not with it. I was not with the shenanigans.
Yeah.
I was not.
Because it was a back and forth within the conversation?
Yeah, like I really wasn't like, I didn't, that's my, I'm still like that now. Like, oh, that's my baby. Yeah. And you be getting so mad.
Yeah, she thinks the boy is her man and he's not a man. We don't do that. Let the boy be a boy grown into a man. You get me?
Anyway, he's still gonna be my baby. I don't care what this man says. That's still my baby.
Okay,
so we went to Panama, and has anyone, like, did you tell anyone that when you tell people that your son lives in Panama, what are their what are their reactions? Like, what do they say? Like, do they look at you different as you being a bad parent? You know, because I feel like as anyone, especially with this climate that we're living in, people would automatically assume like if your child is not physically here, then you're a bad parent.
Yeah.
So did anyone give you like any objections? Did they look at you different? Did they treat you different? What were some of the comments that people were saying?
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I think no one was actually, because at first people actually like, oh, so where's your son? I'm like, oh, he lives with his mom. You know what I mean? They're in another place. They're like, oh, okay, but then I'm like, they're in Panama. They're like, oh, she's from Panama? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, all right. But then you also got to understand the reason why people don't really take it as like a oh my God thing is because we have this whole diaspora and this whole setup about black fathers not usually being there with the child anyway. So it's like, okay, he gets to see his son whenever he gets to see his son. But of course they don't know the depths of it. My friends now, when I tell them when I speak to my friends and we have an in-depth conversation, they know how hard it was for me. Or we get into the conversation and we speak about how tough it is or how tough it was. And it is tough in its own ways now, but they understand that it was a whole process because all of my friends, like, they're really heavily involved in their children's lives as well. So they know that heart tug, especially when you have a son as a father, it's a problem. You get what I'm saying? You want to be with your son. You want your son to learn the things that you know. You want to teach him better than you. You want to make him better than you ever were. So they understand that. They get it. We get into a conversation about that, like, damn, how is it? I know that's tough. And then we start to dive deep and get into the whole emotional thing about it. But anyone else, no, they don't really give me a reaction. They may be thinking something, but I don't really care about what anyone else has to say because I understand the situation. I know what I have to do. So that doesn't bother me. I don't get into conversation about it with a lot of people, only my close friends.
So when you first came to Panama,
Yeah.
and you've seen, because you seen where Amir was living,
Right.
you've seen how Panama was, and obviously you realized that your son was in a good situation.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? Like, what did you think when you first came to, well, before you ever been to Panama, what did you think about Panama?
I trusted the situation, right? Because I'm aware, like, I think you gave me a pretty good depiction of what it would be like, right? And then I knew your mom and your dad were out there and they were doing well for themselves. And then I knew when you were going out there, what type of setup you were going into. You told me it was going to be like this whole type of gated community kind of thing. So I said, he doesn't have that here. What can I can't argue that. You know what I mean? What am I going to leave him in the streets out here to run up and down, get hit by a car or something, you know, or run into some problems with some boys on the corner? So I might as well let him go. So it didn't really bother. I knew he was going into a good situation, but then when I went down there and I saw for myself, it was just like, okay, it was just confirmed. It didn't shock me. You know what I mean? Because you already gave me you painted the picture. I always saw your mother's house probably when you did go down there on the FaceTime or something like that. So it was cool. It wasn't really a problem for me.
Okay, because you know how sometimes like people, I mean, we don't have that problem, but I know other people that are in co-parenting situations, they have a problem with their kids' mothers, with being transparent and being able to speak open and honestly about whatever the situation is. So I kind of feel good that you trusted my judgments, because a lot of times people do not trust they'll have children together but won't trust the other party's judgment when it comes to raising the child together, or whatever the co-parenting relationship is. So this is actually like the first time that we are really having this conversation.
Yeah, but I think also with that, it's, at some point in time, right, you have to, because we were in a relationship before that, so at some point in time you got to know who you're laying down with, to an extent. You don't know the full extent of anyone, but to an extent you got to know who you're laying down with. So I wouldn't be in a relationship with you, not just laying down with, because sometimes people is one night thing or whatever, but you got to know who you're in a relationship with, right, to an extent. So I trusted enough, I'm not gonna say 110%, but I trusted enough that, look at her face, I trusted enough that you wouldn't do something silly. And I think you know me well enough to know if it was something silly, how things go left. You get me? You know, so I don't think you would be silly enough to do something like that. Okay. But I trusted you enough that you wouldn't do something like that. You get me? Okay.
Now that you've seen how Amir's 11 now, he's about to be 12 years old. God, I can't believe it.
Thank God. I'm growing fast. What happened?
I have not come to terms with him growing up. I still view him as the little baby that I brought home from the hospital. I still go through his baby pictures. I still send him pictures every time Facebook sends me a reminder, and I literally cry.
And you see, that's what he was, right, and not what he is. So you gotta let that go.
I cry. Okay, I cry all the time. Amir's right there, so that's why I'm like looking over.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that he's older now, and you've seen how he is, do you think that the situation would have been different if he was raised here in Brooklyn versus where he is being raised now?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question, right?
Yeah. It's a good question. So it's two ends to this, right? Because there's certain ways that, and this is no knock to her at all. So I don't want you guys to be like, oh, he's trying to. That's not what I'm doing. But there's certain ways that I would like him to be raised with certain things, right? And you don't necessarily do that.
Like
and
what?
Then we're not getting into that. We're on camera. We can have that conversation on camera, right? But there's certain things that I would like him to do that he doesn't do, or there's certain details as a man I pay attention to that you wouldn't necessarily pay attention to because you're a woman, right? Raising a guy, so that's not your first thought of how men should move. I think about it in a different kind of way, but as far as the environment and how he grew up and the type of child he is, as far as the environment, he's not he's not a thug, you know, he's not disrespectful. That's a lot credited to me. I taught him a lot of manners. You can ask him.
So I didn't teach you manners?
No, I'm not saying that. I said a lot credited to me. But I'm saying you teach him manners.
Okay.
But I'm just saying it's more so my influence on that end. But I get you. I hear you.
The question was,
right? But
the question was, do you think?
Yes, he would have been different if he was here. In good and bad ways here, and good and bad ways there.
So
you get me?
What
I think the good is the environment, the type of people he gets to be around, the school that he goes to, you know, the interactions that he gets to have with other races of children. He gets to interact with certain things like that. If he were out here, he wouldn't be in a school that's predominantly
that's mixed.
Right, mixed. He would be in a school that's predominantly his own, which I do like. Right, I do think it's important for us to be deposited in an environment of our own, but I do think we do need to know how other races interact. That way we're able to be more social, you know what I mean, with everyone. And I learned that later on in my years, so it's good that he's getting it early. So yeah, I think that's the really good part about that.
Okay, well, what do you think about him traveling? Because Amir has traveled to plenty.
Yeah, I think it's dope. I think it's dope. You know, I didn't get to travel like that. You know, my parents are from Jamaica, so all he did was go to Jamaica. You know, a lot of West Indian people, all they want to do is go back home. So for him to get to do that while he's young, I think it's super dope. He gets to see other places, and then he gets to apply what he learns in school and interacting with those other kids to people overseas. You know what I mean? So then it's just a natural thing for him. He doesn't have to go over there and it's a culture shock.
Exactly.
You get me? So yeah, I think it's super dope. I didn't get to do it, so if he's getting to do it, you want your children to do better than you. So it's
Do you ever feel like you regret your decision of allowing him to go to Panama?
No, I don't regret my decision. I made the right choice at that particular time. which was best for him, right? It would have been selfish for me to say, I'm gonna keep you here because I want to raise you a certain kind of way. I had to think about the environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, I don't regret the decision, but I do know there's a time when he's gonna have to come back. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna be there. It's my time now, because I had to get things together, right? And things are almost in motion the way I needed to be. Because out here, with the schooling and all of that, I would want him to be schooled a certain kind of way, right? And I want to make sure I pay for that smoothly and we live a certain kind of lifestyle. But right now, his situation is good for him, and we're going to change that ASAP, because things cooking, baby. We cooking.
Just don't forget about the little people, okay? Just don't forget about the little people when you making your millions and all that, and you move to LA. Just don't forget about the little people.
New York.
Okay, just don't forget about the small people. That's all I'm trying to say. The people that was there from day one.
I got you.
Okay. So how do you? I'm play back. I'm gonna see what you say.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about our co-parenting situation? Like how? Because I don't. A lot of people that try to co-parent, they have difficulties co-parenting, and they live in the same place.
Right.
So imagine co-parenting with someone and they live in a whole different country. It's not like they live in we're both in New York and we're like literally like walking distance or driving distance from each other. Like we literally are
different countries. Right.
So how do you feel like dealing with how do you deal with co-parenting with me? Or am I difficult?
At times it can be difficult, right? But I think over the years you've gotten less difficult. But then I think you've learned, and I've learned, okay, this is Shayna, I don't got time for this, right? And then you probably like, this is Omar, I don't have time for this. So there's certain things we probably don't engage in, unless absolutely necessary. But so it's gotten better, because once you get to know the person, you're like, all right, I know to give them a day or so and I'll holler back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now, no, it's not hard. Sometimes we disagree on certain things. I would like to say more things, but I also know her and I don't want an argument, and I don't want to have to rough nobody up, because I get crazy, right? And I don't want to have to. You get me?
This is domestic violence, people.
I don't want to have to do it. So I just shut up, right? And then I talk to him about it, like, yo, listen, this is how you handle the situation. But yeah, it's no problem. It's not bad. We have our things,
especially compared to other people.
Yeah. People have a bad situation. I think, we talk about whatever it is, and we may not even argue, but it's a little back and forth. But we get to it.
This guy is very opinionated, okay, and he's like very like strict.
I go off of facts.
He is so strict and very like. So when you go to him
what's
or
facts?
you bring him
what's strict?
any information, you need to make sure you are on point. You got to be on your P's and Q's, because he will dissect everything down to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
As I've gotten older, because we were really young, well not really, but we were young.
Yeah.
When we had Amir, and obviously the same person that I was when we were 21. I'm not the same person in my 30s. Obviously, I'm not the same person.
Right.
So over the time, I had to realize that I had to take my emotions out of the situation and focus on what the bigger picture is, and that's the child.
She gave me hell in the beginning.
I did.
Hell. For you say you curse on him?
No, I don't.
Okay. For BS, you get me. She gave me hell, but when they still
because
have
it was
the feelings
emotion
involved, and they
that's what it was.
You know what I mean? But
that's what it was. It was literally because you still have feelings for the person, and you break up or whatever.
She still has feelings for me now, but she just has it under control. Let's get that clear. She could act like this all you want. You ladies know what the vibe is. Once the child's father is there, you know the vibe.
Okay, that is false.
You get me?
That is absolutely false. Okay? Whoever your girlfriend is or whoever that you talk to, I hope she doesn't see this channel.
They gonna see what it is. She gonna see what she needs to see. You get me? Because it's the truth. But you got it under control now.
Okay, we're done. We're gonna just move on, because Omar is getting beside himself per usual, because he thinks he's God's gift to women.
No, I don't.
Yes, he
Let's
does.
stop that. I do not. This woman who don't want me, and I'm cool with that.
Like me, I don't want you.
All right. I never said you want me. I said you have feelings for me.
No, I love you as my son's father. We're family, but I'm not in love with you.
I never said you're in love with me. I know that those words didn't come out my
Oh,
mouth.
I like that hoodie. Where you got that from?
It's a workout hoodie, but I never said that.
What brand is that?
It's the workout guy's hoodie.
Oh, the same guy that.
Nah, this is my man. But this is another guy. He's like a big workout guy. But no, I'm not saying you're in love with me. I never said that. I said you have feelings for me. What do you mean?
Whatever. Anyway, so what do you guys think about? What do you guys think? Asking you the question. What do you moving forward? Like, so now moving forward now, where do you see this situation going as far as our co-parenting situation? What do you want for Amir? Where do you see Amir in the future? Yeah. Do you see yourself having more kids?
Only if I'm married. I only have more children if I'm married because I want that kind of family structure, and I know how important it is to have both parents in the household. Like, even real quick, right? This is it adds up. Like, even when I came to Panama and we were both there, right? I got to see, even in my mind, how important it is for both of us. I knew beforehand, but then now I'm in the situation. I saw how important it is for a child to have the balance of mother and father at the same exact time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but sometimes that could be a little bit like, it's a double-edged sword, because not every situation is ideal. Granted, if two people are supposed to be together and it's a healthy, loving environment, of course.
That's what I'm saying.
But if it's not a healthy, loving environment and you're raising a child in a toxic environment,
but we're
only
not talking.
because
We get that.
Okay.
I'm not even talking about that, right? I'm talking. We don't even want to entertain a unhealthy situation. If it was a healthy situation, that's when both parents it should absolutely be present. But I think off the rip, you shouldn't be with somebody if it's an unhealthy situation. You get me? So if you bring a child into the situation, it's only gonna magnify the problems or magnify the good things 10 times more. So I'm saying, even though we have a good situation set up, I got to see, since we have a good situation set up, I got to see what it was, how important it was for both of us to be there at the same exact time. Because I may say something and it may come off tough.
Yeah.
Then you may say something and it may comfort him. Although you may say something and it's too babying him, and then I have to jump in and say, yo, easy. You get what I'm saying? So then there's a balance of how he knows how to operate with both parents there. You get me? So that's all I'm saying. I got to see how important that was. Yeah, so that's my point. But do you ask me another question?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. Oh, what do I see for him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I see him, what I want for him, and which is going to happen soon, as we spoke about. He's going right? He's gonna come back. He has to come back and live with me, and then I want him homeschooled.
But I thought you didn't want to live in America because you were so anti-America.
No, I'm not anti-America. This is what, and I wanted to clear that up too. And you leave this. I'm not anti-America, but I'm aware that the system in America isn't set up for the black man. But we have every right to be here. So there's a thing of breaking the system or overthrowing the system to a certain degree, or to just separate within America for ourselves. We need to do for ourselves in order to not rely on the American system that's in place now. But we built this shit. We built this country, so we have right to it. We don't have to go nowhere. We don't have to go anywhere. Like, this ours. So I'm not anti-America. I'm anti the system that's in place right now. So yeah, I want him here with me. I want him to show him, and he is being taught, because you do your own thing. You got your own business. I don't work for anybody. Every now and then I may take a gig up or something, but everything else is freelance. All the three things that I do with is the personal training, the acting coaching, which is taking off even more than the acting for me right now, and then the acting, everything is me. I don't answer to anyone. So I want him to be able to see how it is to move. He saw how it was to move with you as a businesswoman, but I need to let him see how it is to move as a man in a business, because we have it a little bit harder. I know a lot of people aren't gonna agree with this, but we have a little bit harder as a black man opposed to a black woman. There are more opportunities for black women than for black men. We have to move a little bit more strategic, and we have to work a little bit harder. So I need him to also see that, because you had a system. Also, this was a good thing. You have a system where your mother and father were there, right? And they set up for you ahead of time. I didn't have that. Like, my mother and father were there, but it was just work. Your parents worked and did something else for you to have, right? So now I'm starting from ground zero and I have to do all the work for myself. So I need him to see what it's like for the come up. You get me? So I think, yeah, he's gonna come back here, and then he just also has to learn how to move through the world as a man, period. He can't just have mommy babying him all the time and thinking things are sweet. It doesn't work like that. So yeah, that's what I see for him, homeschool, and then he needs to learn to run his own business. And if he's not going to college, then, and we spoke about this, if he's not going to college, he needs to learn how to run a business, take over the business, or learn a trade that he can also build his own business.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's basically what I see for him. I would like for him to take over anything that I built. So that's why I'm like going super hard now. And that was also a benefit of him going to Panama. I was able to set certain things in motion, so I could grind day in and day out while he's over there with people who could take care of him.
Well, guys, this was an interesting conversation. I'll probably do a part 2 depending on what you guys want. Okay, so leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know if you agree with Omar's his views. Okay, some of his views I agree with, some of them is kind of like,
what you don't agree with. Hold on, let them know before we go. What view you don't agree with?
I don't agree with you bringing him back here to homeschool him.
Why not?
Why I don't agree with it? I feel like Amir needs to be able to interact with other students.
He will put him in.
And I don't like this environment. I don't like Brooklyn. I don't like Brooklyn's environment.
That's why he'll be homeschooled, and then he'll be putting in extracurricular activities so he can interact with everyone else. But if he comes out here, there are a lot of rules that he's gonna have to. And you know how I feel about these, needles and things like that. There's a lot of things that he's gonna have to take in order to go to school. You shouldn't say that. It's going thinking on what you call. That's why I said shots.
Okay, he's anti-shot. Okay, he has a lot of controversial views when it comes to a lot of things, and some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with, but that's human nature. Right. We have to agree to disagree, and we have to respect other people's opinions. I think that's something that people lack a lot, respecting other people's opinions. But yeah, so there are things that I don't agree with, but I may do a second part of this video, guys. Let me know what your comments are, what your questions are in the comment section, and we will go ahead, well, depending on what you guys do, okay, or what you guys are saying, then we will do a part 2 on this video. Guys, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow Omar on his fitness channel. I will leave the description in the description box so you guys can click the link and follow him on his YouTube channel. Okay, and as usual, guys, thank you always for tuning into my shenanigans, and as usual, peace and love.
Right.